testing 1, 2. Maybe a touch high on the reverb. just a little bit. All right, how about that? Okay, where is the chat? There is the chat. All right. How are y'all? How are things? Welcome. My name is Kurt, and I am a comic book colorist, primarily. And this is my YouTube channel. Welcome to it. Today we have a very cool cover. Tim sent me this yesterday. And it's for HackSlash Body Bags, number 3, I think it is. Yes, right there. And this should be fun. Like, we're gonna try to make this look like the 90s. or early 2000s, or not. Whenever that was. When was that? Maybe I was still stuck in the 90s when this came out. That is probably what it was. Hello, German. How's it going? You guys get a little too intense with the titles. People calling me sir. This is hi, master. Come on, man. Easy, easy. I still have to fit my head in this box, you see. Alright, well, anyway. Happy Extra Tuesday stream is what this is. See, what you want to do is you want to be really inconsistent with your schedule. That will ensure a steady in your YouTube channel. That's my advice. Now I'll stream tomorrow too. But thank you, Jason. And looks like you've made 2 years as a member. So I guess Mr. Beast will show up at your house soon or something. I don't know how this works. All right. You're a Southerner? You tell me this at the beginning of the stream. But yes, no, thank you very much, German. I know you've been around. I remember your name. All right. Well, I appreciate all the thoughts, everybody. But we have this cover to color. And so I have extensive notes from Tim, as usual. Tim, if you don't know Tim, he's very verbose in his, just all the time, never shuts up in his scripts and his notes. So let me see if I can get all this. Are you up to work? I'll try to get it all in one take here. It says, "Are you up for a cover? They're meant to be gritty, dirty, and blood splattered." So yeah, that's the sort of. There you go. That's why I like working with Tim. He just gets to the point. And he sent me a link to the character reference, just in case I didn't know. Because he knows I'm always like, what is this? What color is this? Who are these people? I don't have the encyclopedic memory that he does of the comics he read. So I have to look them up. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, thank you for joining us today. I'm going to go over this in case there's any new people here. I doubt that this is 6 people. Probably not. Somebody will watch this later. So this is the Inkslayer. And right now, there's nothing special about it. It's in normal mode. And yeah. That's how that works. And then below that, there's some other layers. This is just some blue I put down. We're going to start with that in a second. And then the flats, which are allow me to make selections very quickly. We're going to set the flats as a reference layer so that when I put my wand and look at the reference layer mode down here, even if I'm on this layer above it, I can make selections anyway. This is why we use Clip Studio instead of Photoshop. This one feature. All right. And this layer is just a silhouette. And this is the opposite. Yeah, my flatter sets that up sometimes. But anyway, we only really need, we don't really need any of this because this doesn't have a background. But who knows? And let's see, what else? Let's lock this layer so we don't accidentally screw that up. And I'm going to call this the base. And we can't see through these layers here because it's in normal mode. Now, common knowledge on the internet will tell you, you set this to multiply, and then you can see through it, and you can color under, and blah, 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 right? And that's cool. It works. But the cooler thing to do is to go to the mysterious button section and click on this that I set up, which is convert brightness to opacity. You click that, and it gets rid of all the white. You can leave it in normal mode, which means you can do things like clipping masks and stuff. But we'll get to that later. Oh, if you don't have a mysterious button section, this is a quick access. You can set this up. Edit, convert brightness to opacity will do the same trick. All right, so I'm going to start with Miss Hack because she has to be the character that I've colored the most, right? Does anybody want to confirm or deny that? I'm pretty sure. But yeah, we had the HackSlash Son of Samhain. That was 5 issues. And Resurrection was 5 issues. And then a bunch of covers. So yeah. Gotta be. I think I'm going to do this. We're going to do just straight up local color on this. Yep. To start with. How are y'all doing? How's life? But yeah, I like starting from one color because then you can sort of push and pull everything in the way you want it to go from that point. And everything is going to be relative to everything else anyway. So, oh, I got a really good, a good technical comment the other day, which I don't have handy and I'll have to try to find. But you guys remember a few weeks ago we were testing Clip Studio and there was all this like strangeness with the reds in the final export or whatever, and it was different from Photoshop. Well, I'm a dummy because there is the RGB modes were in different modes. And I didn't realize that. I was so focused on the CMYK profile to make sure that that was all, you know, what it was supposed to be. And yeah, turns out it turns out that I was doing the one was like an sRGB, like very common generic profile, the one that the clip starts with, but Photoshop uses the one, it's like Adobe 1998 or something like that. And so when I was comparing the reds, I was looking at the reds in two different profiles. So now what I've done, and it didn't stick, I'm seeing here as I'm looking at this. Let's see, I'm going to change this again. Where is that? Preferences? But that was on the file. That's what that was. But anyway, you can set this up here. And let's see if... Can I change that to this? Yes. So I guess it depends on if you're going for RGB or CMYK, but I'm so used to converting. You can do either one. But if you're going to compare the RGB output, make sure this is on Adobe RGB. Clever. Let's see. I think I do want to. I'm just going to put this in the CMYK preview. There we go. Can you show later the configuration of your soft airbrush? I can check my configuration. You want to airbrush in clip? Yeah. It's just soft airbrush. I don't. I think that's just the default from clip that I put over here. But yeah, there you go. Opacity's 100, density's at 100. There's really nothing special with it. It's controlling with pressure most of the time. And this is Clip Studio, to be clear. I've had people assume that this was Photoshop because of the UI color or something, but yeah, it's Ooh, let's do a navigator window. Where's it at? Right about there. There we go. Now we get a little thumbnail, so when I'm zoomed up, we can see what's going on. Okay, what was I doing? Yeah, and the original body bags was like really like saturated. The colors were really wild. So I want to figure out a way to we'll do some intense rim lights or something or something because I do want this. I don't want to get too cutesy with the skin colors on these because the skin colors themselves are sort of iconic, or at least they feel that way to me. And I don't want to lose that. And you're like, wow, she's really, really orange. Yes. Yes, she is. Panda Delgado, in case you were wondering her name. Yeah, I'm going to start there and we'll rein this in if we need to. And I'm leaving the eyes pretty mid-tone, like especially if you're going to do highlights later. Can't really do highlights when they're already white. So, pro tip. I've been doing some painting in Procreate lately. If you guys will remind me, I'll try to remember to show this at the end. But one thing that I've noticed that it does is if you start a file in CMYK and like you choose red in the color picker, it will show you the CMYK color in the color picker. I don't know. It's been a while since I've used Procreate. Maybe that's always, I think it's always been that way. But I've just never, it's been, anyway, maybe I knew and forgot. But anyway, you get this like shift into like an obviously red orange shift, and it dulls the saturation. And I wish every app did that now. Like, why don't they all do this? I take it that's not a fully desaturated gray. No, it's not. It's got a little blue in it. The reason that I don't work from like completely gray is because you can't saturate it. That's the only, you know, if you have a gray color, like if I make this gray, and whoops, where'd it go? And then I open up the hue saturation and do this, like it doesn't do anything. So, and honestly, it's pretty rare that I use complete gray in a canvas anywhere. And so starting with kind of a known quantity in the color space, you know, gives me something to make all of the other measurements from, if that makes sense. You know, it's like this color around the letter P is white. Okay, like if we were to put it under a, you know, in a clinical environment with all white lights, like a Apple store or something, then it would be, let's say, white. But here, if I pick this, like it's not really white. It's almost halfway down the color picker, but it's the closest thing to white on the canvas. Like we're on the way to white. And so your brain just goes, "Oh, it's white," because it's lighter and it's really desaturated. Um so yeah. Yeah, when I do these streams, there's like a checkbox for like violence or something. I'm like, nope, nope. Just what happened to my? Oh, this is the same color. Just one. It's a hot mustard. Yep. Little ketchup accident. That's all. She just sliced the steaks. You can see here. But nope, no violence. Okay, all the Chris's are here, so yeah, y'all can chat now. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. What all have we missed here? We got these blades. I love it. Wasn't that a Spin Doctor song? I think you're mixing them up. Sorry, this is the least exciting portion of the stream. All right, what else? What have I missed? We got the bat. Alrighty, so those are the base colors, at least for now. We can reserve the right to change those later. And let's see, what else have I not colored? Surely there's a better way to know this. I select the gray that I haven't colored yet. Oh, nope, it's on that layer. And make sure that the referred layer thing is off. Alright, the studs on the collar, the eyes, the earrings. Which are golden. Oops. Alright, anything else I find will fix it. Good morning. Good morning. That's my mom, Debbie. Welcome. Love you too. What is the name of that song, actually? It's to, something else. All right, so I'm looking at the rendering, and we're looking at the shadows and whatnot here. So, let's see, let's draw on this layer. So we got the light across the top there. And this is all just reflecting the light from behind. Yeah, we got light sources here. So yeah, it's like mainly lit like a studio lighting. You know, it's two princes. That's it. That song is fun on drums. Like I've got a playlist on Spotify of like drumless remixes or something. And that's one of my go-tos when I'm in a good mood or need to be in a good mood. All right. So I think I want to do. What do we want to do here? I think I want to do some cell shading. Cell shading. That is the term. That's a tongue twister. All right. We're going to make a new layer. Do I remember how to do this? It's been a while. If you don't get a random song stuck in someone's head, you haven't done your job. I hear you. I hear you. All right. So actually, I'm going to show you guys a trick for this. Am I doing lighting or am I doing shadows? I'm going to do shadows. We'll see if I can remember how to do this. It has really been a long time since I've done like a lot of lasso-y type coloring on anything. I'll sometimes get it started that way, but I end up like painting it away. Are we going for the good old like, who's that, Rembrandt lighting? Are we doing that little with the triangle on the cheek thing? You guys want to do that? Yeah. All right, let's see. When all else fails, you can go to this setup. Cannot go wrong with it. Some beginner out there is going to be like, I'm doing this shadow all the time. But no, so I'm going to be doing this really quick throughout the rest of this, but I'm going to explain this the first time. So where are we at? Market 27.50. Maybe we'll turn it into a short. So after I have made my selection for where I want the shadow to be, which is this area, you see how it's splashing over into the hair and the lips and the clothing and all this stuff. So this is why I keep my wand in intersect mode, or that's what Photoshop calls it, intersect with selection. I think here they call it selection from selection or something like that, but it works as a new selection when you don't have a selection. So that works. But when you have a selection and use it, it shrinks it to, let me make this right. It shrinks it to the wand selection. So it takes the existing selection and then intersects that selection with the flats. So what you end up with is only the area that you want colored. How long was that? 30 seconds, a minute? And shout out Dave Stewart, who we're just going to rip off here. Just straight up gank. No, we will be inspired. We will be inspired. Inspired is what I meant to say. Inspired. No, Dave Stewart did part of this series for a while. All right, what color is that? And then once the color's down, you can shift that afterward too. So even you don't have to pick, the perfect color. I'm not going to do really anything in the hair because it's already, like, there's enough shadow. So we'll leave that for when we come back to do highlights. Dun, 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 dun. Question: does not the same fill with the tool lasso fill? Um, there's some people like lasso fill. I'm not a fan of it personally because, well, it automatically fills, and typically I am not doing just a straight up fill. I'm doing a brush gradient. I'm rarely am I just putting it down. More often than not, I have more like manipulation to do. Afterward, and especially like with something like what I just did there, it would have just filled, and then I try to make a selection. So yeah, that tool looks cooler in name to me, but it doesn't actually help. at least the way that I work. I'm sure there's someone out there that is like a die-hard lasso fill is the only way. But yeah. That's the fun thing about the internet, is no matter what your opinion is, you can find someone to agree with you. I mean, it might bring about the fall of mankind, but hey. We had the memes, though. And as I say that, I'm filling with one color. Yeah, which is something I rarely do. But yeah, we're going to use all these shadows later, too. Alright, how do we do this smartly? Okay, so I'm going to select the skin. I'm actually going to make sure I'm only working with this section. So sometimes you will see me do this where if I make a selection, it's going to select all of that color all over the canvas. So instead, just make your loop first, and then because your wand is set to intersect with selection, it just shrinks to that. Alright, I'm actually just going to fill this all with the shadow color, and then I'm going to switch to the airbrush, and I'm going to paint this out. Following the contours of these cylinders. And you're like, oh, what about the shadow under the skirt? Well, I'm just going to switch to transparency. Or actually, we can just make a selection like this. And delete it. Whoops. Shrink it. And then, oh, we're not deleting it. We're adding the shadow color. Sorry. That color. There we go. There's probably more than one way to do that. But that's a way. And Gotta handle the Band-Aid. All right. And I'm not going to do any of those shadows on this either because he's got the shadows there. Does that make sense? It's like we're darkening what's black. It doesn't, you know. So I will only really do highlights on that. What else do I want to do on this layer at this point? Oh, let's do this guy. Yeah, for round objects, you can do like a cell shady thing, but to me it looks better if they're a little bit painted. Plus it gives it a different texture than the skin. Which it should, anyway. Enjoying the stream as always. Don't know if I missed you saying it. Are you attending San Diego Comic Con? No, I'm not. You can. Who was that? I think you can blame for all eternity. Not really. This is a joke. But Jim Zub one time was at the Marvel booth there when he was doing some kind of Avengers, probably, I think, of some kind. And he sent a picture from like they had this like multi-story booth thing, and he was on the second floor and was looking at the crowd. And I'm like, yep, I will never go to that show. Like, it was one of those like, oh, this is just way, way too many people. Yeah, maybe if I could hide behind a booth or something, but nah, man. It was one of those things where like if you wanted to, you know, move or like get somewhere, like not, you wouldn't be able to. Like it was that kind of thing. And yeah, no, I'm good with that. But no, I've never been like invited to that show, and I doubt, I don't even know. Um, yeah, I don't think that would be fun for me. Maybe if I had like a squad of like people that I could, you know, just a team of bodyguards creating like a swath. Oh, you got a comic coming out there. Cool, cool, cool. Yeah, trying to make this look gooey gooey over here. I learned that I was, well, I don't know, it's the reason, but I'll say that it factored in. I was told that I was hired recently for a book because he does ooey gooey really well. So, kids, um, anything is possible. That's a good rep to have. Is it though? No, I thought that was very funny. I knew exactly what he meant. Like I didn't know exactly what he meant. Because at this point, like it's still like it's still weird to me that like in just public people come that I run into that have looked up what I've done like after they find out that I'm in comics, and it's like, oh, so you're like a big horror guy. And like I don't know that I ever read a horror comic book before I started working in comics. Like I have since. It's like I've become a fan of them. Um, but yeah, it's just it's one of those things where like you don't get to choose your perception of people, you know, or what they think of you. And I don't mind it at all, to be clear. I'm using a pencil tool to make this look a little bit more textured. And on the bat, I'm going to select all of that and shift this shadow color down some, a little bit darker. A little bit redder. And again, using the pencil tool here a little bit because it's, you know, it's wood, so like it kind of makes sense to me that it would have some texture. And let's see, her hair is kind of a reddish brown relative to this, relative to the skin tone. So let's see if we're starting here. This is what I mean about color being relative. Like, I'm going by what's on the canvas and not my reference. Because if I just chose what's in the reference and put it on here, it may or may not work, you know? I was doing some, is it more orange? I just need to get a color down and see what it looks like. Yeah, it's way too dark. All right, this should be... I'm starting from a bad base color here. This is definitely meant to be more saturated. I'm going to build this up in layers, but yeah, or in stages, but I want to get it tinted a little bit more to this warm color. And then we'll do a bit of a higher, brighter highlight on it. I'm gonna muddy up and dirty up the skin and stuff on a different stage a little bit later, but because it does need gritty is one of the directions I was given. So I'm thinking about like actually dirtying up the picture itself, like some blood got on this image. Because we've got some negative space to work with, like maybe some splattery stuff or something. That kind of thing. Ooh, I should have did this. That's interesting. I'm gonna try it. It doesn't matter for this stage. I'm in the quick mask mode, and I'm painting with an inking brush. So I am painting this. This is a selection. Okay, is what this is gonna be. It's not a color. I'm in quick mask mode. This is actually what you're supposed to use it for, that I never do. Whoops. Going that way, that way, that way. So this will actually give me some nice hard edges on this selection, but I can still make a gradient within that area. Does that make sense? You'll see. Watch. Oh, I forgot to shrink the selection to just the hair. There we go. Yeah. I like how that looks. So it's a good way of getting like a what do you call this? So we've got the selection we want, but within the selection we've got a gradient, and that's very hard for me to think about painting. So anyway. Okay, now I'm gonna tint all of this hair a little bit warmer because it's still, there we go. That's what we needed. So that's an overlay layer, kind of a middle saturation, so it doesn't, and value, so it doesn't shift the values very much, but it warms it up nicely. That looks good. I like it when it accidentally looks better than I thought it was gonna look. All right, what else? I'm just kind of hopping around now and seeing what all I haven't done anything with yet. We'll check back to see the finished product. Looking forward to it. Thanks, Jason. Yeah, German. That's you can Google that brush name. You'll find the. It's an R though. That's KRUPUK. Yep. So if the lighting's coming like right from the front, that's kind of why I'm going right down the middle with some of these highlights. So you're thinking about reflecting it back to the camera, basically. That's a good exercise, I think, if you struggle with like rendering and like where your choices are. Like, think about, even if you don't actually color with it, like say you've got a light coming from, well, where this one's coming from. Like, let's not reinvent the wheel. And think about like drawing out those contours and all the places that they are you know, present or facing the camera, like in big simple sort of ways, you know. These are all cylinders, right? But if you break the whole thing down into cylinders like that, and if we think about smack dab the middle of all of these cylinders is facing us. That's facing our eyeballs. And so if I want the light to appear to come from the left behind the camera, then I'm staying on this side. For this is just an example with my rendering. And if I've got something coming from the right side, then I'll do a different color. Then I'll think about my rendering on, you know, this side of that line. But if you kind of map them out like this, you can get very specific with like where you want things to be. You know, it's like we can, you know, I can add a, like the highlights now make sense for this blue light, you know, to cut right down the middle. Just like this yellow light over here, we can kind of imagine that highlight cutting down the middle. So that's kind of the model that's running, you know, when I'm trying to decide where all this stuff is going. And that alone is something that, you know, I realize you might have to work on, but something you could work toward, though. All right, what else? What else? What else? Yeah, I think I'm gonna do like a rim light along this edge before I'm done, so that's why I'm not worrying about those too much. Or at least that edge yet. Anything that's meant to be shiny, we'll add some specular highlights. It immediately starts to look reflective, or at least reflective compared to what's around it. And when I'm trying to decide like where I want my specular highlights to be, I will sometimes think about like this fabric around the bat versus the bat itself. And so I'll use something like in this case, I'm going to put some striations or whatever on this bat because it's like a wood grain thing, right? But I'm not going to do that on the wrap around it because it's a different texture. So sometimes like the right thing to do is to not do anything. And that alone can create a you know, a separation. I'm doing that thing I wouldn't really recommend where I'm uh, detailing one character and leaving the other for later. Or at least building it up a little bit more than usual. I like to spread that out normally so I don't accidentally end up with any one area more detailed than another or something. And here I'm going to very closely follow what is in the inks. There's not a lot of wiggle room in the rendering here. Sorry if this is an unrelated question, but where's a good place to get pages to color? Um, I think where's a good place these days? I mean, there's a lot of stuff still up on DeviantArt. There's a lot of stuff that's already flatted, even. A lot of this stuff's been seen a lot. So the old stuff, anyway. I don't know if anything new is good there. But what's the other heritage auctions? I think it's like ha.com or something. They get a lot of high-res scans. Is there a specific place, or does going directly to an artist I like and asking? You can always ask. Yeah. Go crazy. No, I don't think it's a problem. I mean, to ask. I'm darkening the shadow on her skin tone and warming it up some. There we go. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, no problem. Alright, let's do some of this. Yeah, I kind of like the look on the other one where it's a little bit softer, a little bit brighter around the highlight, and then there's a really sharp, like, specular highlight. I like the look of that. And this is in, again, I'm in quick mask mode. And I am painting with a, like, crow quill, sort of. And some of you are thinking, like, why don't you just paint it? Because, I'll show you in just a second. Alright, so you see, this is my selection now, right? So now, I can go get my brighter color with a soft airbrush, and I can get this nice gradient toward the front within that selection. Which to me looks cool. But if you'd have been like, control that opacity all the way down like that, I probably would have, it probably wouldn't have worked. What is happening? Oh, sorry. There we go. Yeah, I wanted to blend that a little bit right there. Yeah. The color used in the lines when there is a superpower. I mean, you can color lines whenever you want. It doesn't, I mean, as long as it makes sense. You've got a reason, a special effect, or you're trying to create some atmosphere or something. Why is that not coloring? Oh, because I'm on the blender tool. All right. I'm going to start with that shadow color, but it's probably going to be too dark on her skin, but we'll see what it looks like. You can always start with a big selection, and then I'm going to hold, what is that, Alt, to remove. And that way your selection doesn't have to be, ooh, I'm removing. I should be, well, we'll invert it. There we go. Ooh, I like it. It's very dramatic. It's very Batman the Animated Series. Very much so. I've seen some comics that have heavy render and heavy color that don't seem to work. I mean, what do you mean by heavy? I mean, I guess I know what you mean. Heavy color gradation. I mean, it's up to the art. It all depends on whether the colors help the art. And so yeah, you might come across some you think are overcooked or something. It can happen. Is streaming worth your time after all these years? What does worth my time mean? If I'm still here doing it, I'd say it's worth my time. Alright, what am I missing here? Oops. There are two different skin tones because of that net thing, and so I'm having to manually remove it from everywhere else instead of being able to use that intersect trick I've been bragging about. Heavy rendering like spotted blacks and cross hatching. Heavy inking, in other words. I guess I don't. If you want me to say that you have found some coloring that doesn't work well with certain ink styles, then yes, that's totally possible. But I don't want to make a blanket statement that that's always a bad combo because I've seen talented artists make that work if that's the ultimate goal, you know. So it's I don't know. I feel like you've asked me the same question 4 different ways at this point. I'm sorry my answer is not sufficient. But like art is art. Like sure, there's things that work better than others sometimes in general, maybe. But yeah, who knows? I'm not gonna ever say never. I don't think. Yeah, that heavy red reflection makes sense on the skin, but not this dark material. It's funny. This hold on 1 second. All right. This image just popped in my head. This is a terribly small version of it. But like his hair's black, his suit's black, it doesn't reflect the red light. Like it's absorbing it all because it's black. The skin reflects it. So those of you that are wondering like why when I did the same color light on every single thing in my comic it doesn't always work? That's why. So yeah, that's why I'm toning that down a little bit on because there's already there's already a lot of dark on the that stuff. So highlights make more sense probably. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Oh, I lost the chat. There we go. Thank you for streaming. I learn always, every time. Hey, Prado, good to see you. I'm glad you came by. That needs to be 1. Black latex reflects color? To an extent, yeah. But I'm not going to paint in the... Like, I'd have to paint over the shadows for most of this in that case, you know? You don't want to get too literal with any of this either, by the way. Like, the second you start to get, like, well, this means this always needs to... Yeah, like, you know, be careful about that. Dum, dum, dum. All right. Sorry, I got lost there. So I want to start dirtying this up a little bit, literally, as far as on the characters, and then I think I want to try. I want to try some stuff over the top of this, to kind of grunge it up, also. And I want to do some rim lights on this too. Let's go ahead and do that first. Let's see, is that... Yeah, that feels about right. I'm just going to do this on a new layer on top. And always, it makes it immediately tends to make some things look more three-dimensional as soon as you put a second light source on it. It's when the light sources are the same color, your brain tends to like flatten them out. But you throw a different color up there and it starts to trick your brain. When we need to select an area from the flats layer, do we have to manually turn the layer on, select the area, and turn it off every time? Have you seen me doing that? If you have, it's you might be misinterpreting something. The flats is set as a reference layer. The wand is set to refer to reference layers. So no matter where I am, I've got my selections. I got a bunch of little short videos on selections and clip if you want to mess around with it. There's a lot to there's a lot you can do. Wow, that's possible in Photoshop? Nope. That's why I'm using Clip Studio. Welcome. Welcome to the stream. This art gives me Savage Streets feelings, loving the 80s atmosphere. I know, like I'm like I'm pushing for those like just really insane, you know, super saturated colors from back then. Oh, is my signature brighter than his? There we go. Yeah, I think my entire career, all I've ever done, there was a stretch where I was doing the same signature, but I pretty much just started writing it like the guy above me. Just whatever's there. Just get it close. And if you're thinking, Kurt, is the rim light on the top or the bottom? Shh. Hush now. Alright. Yeah, sometimes looking cool overrides reality. Photoshop is dead. It's not dead in this industry, unfortunately, but yeah. Yeah, actually, I just made a video using CS2 for no reason at all. No reason. But yeah, I was happy to see what's his name? Brad Colbo. He did a video on all of the apps to get rid of Photoshop, to get rid of Adobe. Basically like the Adobe equivalent for everything. I'm like, I really appreciate that. If it wasn't for, and I hate to say it, but they're like text-based editing in Premiere right now is saving me a ton of time. So that makes me a hypocrite, I guess, because I'm still paying them for now. But yeah, I haven't been able to get away from that really. Dun, 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 dun. All right. Well, it's coming together. We're coming together. Alright, so... I'm going to start adding a little bit of some color variation in the skin. Let's see. I'm saturating Cassie's skin a little bit. It looked a little too zombie-like there. Mostly because her skin is so saturated in this book. Super excited for this book. Awesome, awesome. You're biased? How are you biased? Why is that doing that? Because I'm on a blender tool. It never fails. I hate when computers do precisely what you ask them to do. All right. I'm digging all that. I'm digging all that. And I'm gonna do, let's see. I'm doing all this on separate layers, but so I want to be able, especially with a cover, I want to be able to like turn this up and down and like, let's see. Trying to make these suits a little less pristine. This brush has a tremendous amount of like randomness in it, and so you're seeing me like try a bunch of times to get the stroke that I want. Dort. Not dirt, Dort, sorry. Her hair still looks great though. I mean, yeah, there's such a fine line between muddy and dirty. in the wrong way. No, I'm not going to San Diego Comic Con. I've actually never been. I doubt I'll ever go. It's too big for me. Love the really energy in Cassie's face. Yeah, I know, right? All right, so I'm gonna make a few selections so I can see what this is gonna look like, and right about there. What if we did cool? What if we did that yellow? That is nice. I like that yellow. Okay. Happy accident. Bob Ross style. We're gonna paint with an adjustment layer. Let's see. So this adjustment layer is going to brighten and yellowify this thing. But that'll be a nice color to offset with this green. I think and this is where we wish that we labeled our layers. Shadows. Because now I can, what is it? Control Alt click and remove the contents of that layer from my selection. Because I didn't want to get into the shadows on this. Is this going to look cool? I think it's going to look cool. Yeah, it looks cool. I think this contrast is really going to work well because her skin tone is so much colder or cooler. think I'm going to do this as a rim light on the other side. That's what I'm going to do with this. Yeah. Yeah. I tend to think of Cassie as someone who rarely sees the sun. Yeah, she's pretty pale here. Jimmy Reyes, how's it going, man? You'd like to learn how to color in Clip Studio Paint? I don't know. Do you know anybody? I know a guy. I know a guy. No, yeah, you can, there's actually a pretty extensive, I don't know if you're kidding or not, but if there's a, like, 45-minute lesson on my channel on, coloring with Clip Studio. We're doing all the light sources. All of them. Let's see, is that it? Yeah. Yeah, so we're just staying, I'm staying out of the shadows, and I'm staying out of my rim lights, and pretending this light is coming from, like, that direction. If you were here earlier, we were talking a little bit about, that. I've always been interested in coloring for comics, but I don't understand how the hiring process goes for this kind of job when you're just starting out. Me neither. Not anymore. Yes, I really do want to learn to color. Do you have a brush set? No, I do not. It's all just, it's not really about the brushes, but uh find a good textury brush you like. Find a good like clean brush you like. I mean, but what am I not? Oh, I need some yellow light on this side. That's what we need. But yeah, but definitely, I've got a ton of stuff on YouTube. I've got courses on my website, which are linked in the description. But no, they're cheap. People like them. All right. Since I have colored them as if they are not having any effect on each other from a lighting standpoint, I'm going to select Cassie. Is that everything? Nope. Let's just do that, and that. Minus that. I'm going to make this a selection at the bottom just so I don't have to make it again. All right. But now that I've, because you can control click these images and reload it. Just like that. All right. I don't know what I want yet. I'm going to put a little bit of just a soft shadow between the two. Minus this. Doesn't make sense. Now, let's see. See that? It's subtle, but now they look like they're standing next to each other. And we can play around with the color of that shadow. I don't want to introduce anything color-wise here, so I'm just going to desaturate it. Turn it down a little bit. And then I'm also going to paint a little bit of it away where I don't want it. Kind of like elbows, throwing a little shadow or something there. There we go. All right. Almost 2 hours. That's pretty good. I'm going to scoot around the image here up close, just looking for things that I need to deal with. And I'm going to put this on a layer just on top of everything, because I don't want to have to dig through layers and all this stuff all over again. If there was a really bright This actually needs to be a little bit more saturated. If we're being like realistic, it would be reflecting off her skin and saturating all of this. I think I've got better brushes for. Do I have any good splatter brushes? I don't know. I have so many. What is this? Doesn't look like blood at all. There was some really good splatter brushes in. Is that Fresco? I think it was Fresco. All right, tell you what, I'm going to. What am I going to do? Is my iPad charged? That is the question. I'm pretty sure it's not. All right, let me see if I can find. Well, I tell you what, yeah, I don't know where to start for this. Might be a good place to call it for now. I'm gonna do some grungy stuff over the top of this too, but we're not. I'm not really prepared for that. My iPad is not charged, and I want to use Fresco for it because I've been playing around with that a lot. But yeah, at some point when I get to show this to you guys, I will, and you'll see the finished version. Thanks to everybody for watching. Thanks for hanging out. You guys have any questions before I wrap this up? Oh, if you want to support what I'm doing here, please check the links in the description. I've got courses and Patreon. I do a live class every month for them. That is fun stuff. What if we doubled it? Nobody says we can't double it. I think I like it. I'm gonna turn it down a little bit. Yeah, all of these like extra light sources, sometimes if you're like, oh, there's really not enough contrast, just duplicate it. You know. And then you can smudge it away where it's overcooked. Thanks for the live. Thank you for watching. How's Deathstalker? Oh, it's fun. Wrapped up. I'm done. I think it's 3 big issues, like 3 40-page issues. So I turned it in a few weeks ago. Had a good time making it, and it's fun. As far as if your read is like, if it's a fun book, it's a very fun book. Yeah, Tim is at his best, and the art's incredible. Yeah. Do I have any videos on values? I'm having problems with the lack of contrast between light and shadow. I feel like every video is about contrast somehow. What is the problem that you're having? How are you having a lack of contrast if you're aware that there's a lack of contrast? Like, what specifically are you dealing with? In the meantime, I'm looking for blood spatter. Like you do. You'll check the descriptions. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm looking at all these, and none of them look like what I want. Yeah, I'll have to paint it myself probably. Plus, they're like 700 pixels wide. Like, what is the point of that? What is the point of having a website with like transparent, whatever, 400 by 222 pixels? I can count them. Didn't I have, what was it? Another, did Rebel have good? Hold on. I got a bunch of drawing apps. Something's got to have some kind of drippy brush, right? I have not tried Fresco on my computer yet. I think it's available though. Rebel does drip well. Does it now? Yeah, I have not done a whole lot with this app at all. Yeah, I might have to. Ooh, 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 ooh. I don't know how to use this app. Hold on. I mean, it's not horrible. But it's just like a stamp though. Yeah, it's just like a stamp over and over. Could that work? It looks like they're just dripped onto it. I'm not a blood spatter specialist, but this is not our, this is not arterial spray, people. Maybe I've watched too much Dexter. Alright, I'm gonna see if I can get, I haven't installed Fresco. I'm trying to see if I can get it going now, but of course, the first time they open up this Adobe thing in a year, it's like, oh, we want to update the world. You want me to install Adobe Genuine Service? No. No, thank you. Where is it? This is an app available for Windows. I'm pretty sure. Here we go. All right. We're installing. Hopefully this doesn't take too long. The tones don't differ much. The highlights don't differ much from the halftones. I'm trying to use grayscale, but I'm afraid I'll overdo it and it'll look weird. All right. So you can make it easier for yourself. Let me try something here. It'd be funny if this is like, yeah, that's a pretty good example, but not great. When you're drawing, wait a second. You know what? Let me make a new canvas like a normal person. All right. Here's what you do. At the top of the thing you're gonna color. And let's say it's him. You start with white, and then go about halfway down, and you get gray. And I mean, for coloring, we don't really play around in here too much, but let's just say our darkest color, quote unquote, is right there. All right, so now you can go in between each one of these. And like, now you've got 5 values. Okay. So like, when you want something to be more different, you want to make sure the distance between these colors is greater. The distance, literally the measurement of distance within this box. If the distance is far relative to, you know, 2 colors that are close to each other, you have lower contrast, like the lower that distance is. So if you think about the contrast as a measure of how far they are away from each other, it makes it a little bit easier to think about. But yeah, just get all your values on there and use that as a base to build the rest of it from. All right, what was I gonna do? Fresco. Oh, wait a second. Let me see if I can show this. Hold on. I think I can. Yeah, that's fine. All right, let me save this as it's already a PSD, but I'm going to save this as a separate version. Well, let me make sure this version is saved first, because I don't think it is. I'm going to save this one, and then I'm going to save another one. I'm just going to call this Fresco, or whatever I just typed there. And let's see, let's do that. And can I just drop this in here? No, I cannot. Hold on. That would be too much, like, right. Let's see if it's going to blow up my computer or what. Your Photoshop layers are preserved. There are layer types in this document that Fresco can't edit. These layers are read-only and have a Photoshop badge on them. Well, how about that? Oh, it's just most of the layers. That's weird, but no, it doesn't matter. This can all we can merge all of this. Is there an option for that? Surely. Surely I can merge all. Do I have to keep hitting it? Is that it? I don't guess it really matters. All right, we'll make a new layer on top. And wet brush, painting, basic, FX, clouds, dusty, dusty. What dusty looks like. Why is my color picker so weird? Okay. All right. I don't hate it. Let's see. Let's get a brush that, or a color that we're actually going to use. And I'm going to overdo all of this here. And then we can mask it out. And what else we got in here? That's nice. That's very nice. Ink spat. It eats ink spat. It says. That's a little splattery. I'm just kind of testing. Interesting. I haven't tried any of these. That ain't it. Ink stains. These are cool brushes, just not what I needed for this. Smoke spatter. I like it. Yeah, I'm in. I think I'm impressed with this. How do I zoom? Yeah, I think I am impressed with them. And so if I put a mask on this, create empty mask. And then we have to swipe left to edit the mask. Aren't we on the mask? I'm confused. Shouldn't be adding. I don't know what this thing is doing. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and save this. Can I move this? Yeah, let's do this. All right. Yeah. How do I export this? Publish and export. export as PSD. It's been a while since I've used an app that was not Photoshop or Clip Studio. Okay. So now we have this version. And we've got all of our layers. I'm going to make sure it will not save the flats layer as a reference layer no matter what, because Photoshop doesn't have those things. And now on that layer above, I'm going to paint it away. I think I kind of like the fact that I didn't paint it out everywhere, though. I think I dig it. I think I dig it. All right. What else do we need to do this thing? I'm going to put a tone curve. You guys still here? People are still here. Yeah, I said I was leaving like 30 minutes ago and then changed my mind. Sorry. Some people are missing out. The Frienden brushes, they probably do, but they're not as smooth as these. Photoshop is live. I have built a finger rest for the digital pencil similar to yours. I copy everything from you. All right. So anyway, this is was on Amazon, but you can do what you like with it. All right, I'm pulling the dark side down a little bit. I'm gonna pull the bright side up a little bit. That is looking snappy. I gotta say, I think it's looking snappy. And we make sure we're still in CMYK so we know what we're looking at. Yeah. I dig it. I dig it. All right. What else? I'm just gonna check if I'm gonna just do something very different than what I've done to see what happens with some more green influences in here. Because really what we're doing is we're simplifying the number of colors, bringing them together just a little bit. And this stuff, though, I don't want to be influenced by that at all. I would rather it just be red, red, red. All right, I dig it. Thank you guys so much for hanging out today. I'm really leaving this time, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Take care. Click buttons. Press them all. Thumbs buttons. Subscribe buttons. Join buttons. Comment. Is that everything? Bye bye.